Welcome, guys, to Cats and Conspiracies. It's your man Cordus here, doing the best that I can to bring you underrated gems, films which you may have missed. And even if you haven't missed them, I'm bringing them to you anyway because I love them. And I want you guys to give them some love because I think they deserve a lot more love than they've been getting. I'm kind of done with, as you guys know, I'm kind of done with modern day Hollywood. I just can't anymore. I can't deal with it. I can't remember the exact moment that I gave up on it, but I know I haven't been to the cinema in 10 years. The last film I saw at the cinema, at least I went out with a bang. I went out on a good one. The last film I saw was Interstellar. And if that's where you're going to leave it, what a great place to leave it. And that was an experience. That was amazing. But I haven't been back and I won't be going back anytime soon. I'll probably never go back to the cinema, which is fine. I'm okay with that because there's nothing there that I want to see. I think I'm still trying to get over the hype that is around the Minecraft movie, which is completely insane. Um, and I think people seem to be far more excited in the reactions they can get in the theatre than they actually can from the film, because the film just it looks horrendous. To me, I just think it's an insult. And don't say to me, "Oh yeah, that's made for kids." It's just made for kids. Well, that's an insult to kids because I think kids deserve a lot better than that. And I have actually played a little bit of the Minecraft game. It's not really my thing. I'm more old school. I like the old platform games, Ghosts and Goblins, Shinobi, Street Fighter Two, uh, stuff like that. Love that kind of stuff. But I did play Minecraft. I had a go on it, and like I said, I didn't really get it, but it struck me as a very creative, sophisticated game. And also, it certainly didn't strike me as a kids' game either. It struck me as quite grown up and quite mature. It's a very peaceful game. The sounds, the moving around, the sounds from the mining, making things, very peaceful, very relaxing, very serene world to exist in. So I don't quite understand why with this Minecraft movie, they've gone for the most ridiculous, lowest common denominator of dragging Jack Black up on screen, looking and acting exactly like Jack Black with a blue t shirt on. I don't get it. It seems to me that it's not in keeping with the game. I don't understand. And how is it me, or is how lazy is if you had to come up with a film based on a game and you sat around and you started coming up with some ideas, if one of you went, "Hey, I've got an idea. How about we get some real life people that get sucked into the game?" I would literally be sitting there going, "Is that the best you can come up with? That is the laziest idea that you can come up with for making a film out of a game." And if you can't come up with a better reason, then maybe there's a reason why it shouldn't be a film. Because from what I remember playing Minecraft, there wasn't really a storyline. As far as I could tell, it was about crafting. So how you can get a film out of this, I don't know. But we know what this is all about. It's IPs make money. Here's something you remember. Remember this? Remember Minecraft? You like Minecraft, don't you? How about a film about Minecraft? Oh, we'll just put some crappy actors up there, and the sheep will lap it up. Yeah, I find it just depresses me. I find it so depressing. And I'm in full rant mode now, but this insane obsession with the 80s. Yeah, the 80s was probably the most creative decade and spawned the most incredible films from creative people. It was the most insane thing ever. It was incredible. It was amazing. The films that come out in the 80s were phenomenal. There was just so many of them, and they are still loved and cherished. But there's no new thing has been created to give this kind of generation something to look back on. Hey, remember that generation? It created that specific style. It just doesn't seem to be there. So it seems what they're doing is looking back, looking at this great decade that was the 80s, and they're just pulling things out of that. And remember the 80s? Like, yeah, it was amazing. But I don't want to see you taking things from that, going, hey, look, remember how amazing this was? It's like, yeah, I remember it was amazing. But I want to watch those things from the 80s in their purest form. I don't want you bastardizing it and taking little bits of it and pointing at me going, remember the Rubik's Cube? And from what I understand from the Minecraft movie, Jason Momoa is, oh, what a surprise, he's an 80s gamer. But the thing that really winds me up about when they do this is they seem to like crank it up to 97. I know there's a few things I've watched where it's like, oh, it's set in the 80s. There was one I watched, I think it was called Totally Killer, and it was like, it's like time travel serial killer or something, and she kept going back to the 80s. And like the minute she lands in the 80s, there's like Rubik's Cubes flying at her face, and skateboards, and Wham posters, and 80s music, and there's leg warmers, and like it's just like they just pour everything. They literally search 80s images and then just get all those things and just pour them onto the screen. It's like, yeah, those things were around in the 80s, but they weren't all there at the same time, and not every single person walked around wearing them, and not every single person had thousands of Rubik's Cubes in their house. It's just like, it's almost like it's made by people who have an idea of what it was like, but not. Yeah, no, it really winds me up, and it's like they just want to continue, and it's not even enough that it's there on the screen. They have to have the characters literally like coming up to the camera, and it's like, oh hey, did you see? Did you watch the Guns N' Roses concert last night? It's like, yeah, we get it, you know, we get it. You're in the 80s, yeah. I understand. Hey, check out this Rubik's Cube. Look at my new skateboard. God, it's just like they're beating you to death, you know, over the head with it. It's like, I get it. I get that it's set in the 80s. A friend of mine's always going on at me about watching Stranger Things. He's like, you'll love it. It's so 80s. And I'm just like, no, I won't. Because I don't want to watch another thing that doesn't have enough to be its own thing. So it's piggybacking off the back of something else. And that's what all these things are doing. They do not have the creativity to be their own thing. So they're piggybacking, taking things from the 80s, and they're kind of building around that. It's like, hey, remember the 80s? So yeah, I can't deal with this modern version of doing it. And that is why, getting back on topic, that is why I am bringing you films that you may or may not have seen. Hopefully you've not seen them, and then I can give you a little bit of inspiration for something to watch. Because I know if you're anything like me, you still crave it. You know, you still crave good films, because I don't think storytelling is ever going to go out of style. And I can imagine if we went right back to caveman days, I can imagine people sitting around a little campfire telling stories of things that happened on caving hunting journeys. I just don't think that storytelling is ever going to go out of style. So we may not be getting the films, but the hunger for it is still there. So with all that said, what am I rambling on about today? Frequency. Absolutely love this film. I love it, and I have lost count again of how many times I have watched Frequency, and how many people I have passed this film on to. In fact, I know for a fact this is my second copy of this, because I've lent it out before and never got it back. But I'm okay with that, because it means that someone else is enjoying this film. And I don't quite get how this film sort of slipped under the radar. There's not many people I come across when I talk about it who've actually seen it. So anytime I mention it to someone and they haven't seen it, I'm like, right, you have to watch this film. You have to see it. It's such a unique take on the subject that it's dealing with. I've got the trailer running in the background there, but I don't want to show you too much of that. Once again, the trailer is actually really good, but there is there are a lot of spoilers in the trailer, and it's best if I just tell you a little bit about it and you go in as blind as possible without knowing some of the things that are clearly shown in the trailer, because it's going to be a good surprise for you. There are a lot of things that are going to happen which you're going to be like, "Ooh, I did not see that coming." So here we got we've got Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel. They are playing father and son in this film, and Dennis Quaid is a fireman, and Jim Caviezel is a police officer. So here's the storyline without giving too much away. Jim Caviezel is a police officer, and he's a guy with troubles. Instantly, a very likable character. You see this um, almost straight away with him when he's visiting his mum, and he's very caring to his mum, very calm around her. Really nice to see. And I think there's some issues going on with his wife as well. So there's a little bit of trouble at home as well. But you're instantly warming to this character. Like you can tell he's a good man. He's a good man. He's just been beaten down. He's got a few friends around him. Now, his father, who's played by Dennis Quaid, you don't immediately see for obvious reasons, which is his dad died when he was very young. So this has affected him clearly. He goes around his friend comes around, so I think he's around his mum's house, and one of the kids is going through some stuff under the stairs, and he comes across an old ham radio, proper old school. And the kid's all excited about it. And he wants to set it up and get it working. And Jim Caviezel was just like, he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, whatever. Plug it in, see if you can get it working. And they start playing around with this radio, leave it plugged in. I think the kid goes home. And Jim Caviezel's staring up. He's pretty sad and upset with everything that's gone in his life. And he's sitting there with this radio next to him, which is still plugged in and turned on. One of the things that's shown quite early in the film is there's some really crazy like Northern Lights going on. Some really sort of one of the most like powerful they've ever seen, and this is attributed to some of the things that happen in this film. So while Jim's sitting there, he hears some voices on the radio, and just out of boredom and curiosity, he just starts playing with the radio, and it eventually turns out that he's talking to his dad on the exact same radio in the past. This takes a little bit of time for him to figure out. And first of all, he thinks it's some kind of joke or someone's spying on him, and he freaks out. And then he finds a way, like his dad clearly proves it to him. And when he eventually figures it out, they have one of the sweetest, heart-warming moments where they speak together. And this is like a reunion for him because he hasn't seen his dad for 30 years. However, his dad in the past still has Jim, his son, with him, but I think he's like 10 years old or something. So he has his son with him at the young age that he is there. And he's also talking to his son in the future, 30 years from now. So without giving too many spoilers away, Jim's dad died in the past because of a house fire that he went to, and he went against his gut instinct, made a bad decision, and ended up dying in this house fire. He knows the date. He knows exactly where this happens. Obviously, his son in the future. So they figure out that date is fast approaching, where his dad is in the past. So he warns him and says, look, this is what's going to happen. You die in this house fire. And he's like, no, that's impossible. Not going to happen. I would never do that. So anyway, he warns him about it. His dad's pretty freaked out about it. Obviously, the call comes in. The house fire, it's not a house fire, sorry. It's a factory fire, big factory fire. So his dad goes to the factory fire, and you see him in this factory. And you see the moment where he comes to make the decision where he should turn left or right. And he, this time, goes with his gut instinct and goes the way that he should go. And he actually makes it out of the building and survives. Well, to him, the timeline is exactly the same because he's not aware that he died. So to him, he just got out of the building. But for Jim Caviezel, who's playing his son in the future, he suddenly gets all these memories from when his dad was alive, when he's a kid, which is crazy because he kind of has his memories of his dad dying and the funeral and everything, but he also has the memories of his dad when he didn't die. So it's really confusing. He kind of has two sets of memories. He goes back and speaks to his dad at the end of that day, unable to believe that his dad's still alive. Um, and again, it's a really touching moment. His dad's just like, "You're the voice of an angel. What's happening? What is this? Some kind of godly interference or something?" Yeah, very very touching moment. However, and here's where I won't go too much into spoiler territory. In doing what they're doing, changing the past, how they did. Now, this film has its own rules about time travel. I'll come back to that in a sec. But in order, changing the timeline the way they have has a ripple effect, and other things have happened. And it turns out that a case that Jim Caviezel was working on as a cop in our present day that we can see, there was a murderer, a serial killer. They called him the Nightingale because he killed nurses, and he just disappeared. He just vanished. He stopped killing at a certain point. But when Jim goes back to look at the cases, he's killed like a whole load of new people. So something they have done has interfered in that timeline, and this killer has killed a whole load of new people. So it's really messed things up. And Caviezel's freaking out. And he's like, "Oh my God, what have we done? We've got to fix this. He's killed a whole load of women, and he's still killing." So that is where the story starts to take place. This film is really hard to categorize. Yeah, it's sci-fi. It is a sci-fi film. Sci-fi does play a part in this film, but there's so much more to it. This film has got so much heart and warmth and family feel good that I think this will just go across the spectrum. Young, old, men and women are all going to enjoy this film. There is no way you can't be touched by this film. It's got such a nice family feel to it. It kind of reminds, some of the shots in it, some of the scenes and the music as well, really reminds me of stuff like the Wonder Years. That kind of era, that kind of color. The kids playing baseball, kids playing little league baseball. The dads polishing up their cars, having a beer while they're watching the game on TV. All the neighbours and all the families getting together. It's really got that nice feel about it, and there's some other little storylines in it which will really get you as well. And it's like, he's teaching his son how to ride a bike. He gets his son in to help him to like use the CB radio and stuff like that. It's just such a wholesome film. It's got everything going for it, and the relationship that Jim Caviezel has with his dad, even though obviously he died 30 years in the past, it was clearly a good relationship when he was a kid. And even though his dad's not around, he's able to pick that up really quickly when he speaks to his dad on the CB radio. And it's a very, very touching, very emotional film. Just family, wholesome, good versus evil. And it's a great thriller as well. There's some real kind of edge of your seat moments in this. And I remember the very first time I watched it, it just wasn't what I was expecting at all. And it's a film that stayed with me for a long time. And it's one I've enjoyed many times. And you can see, look, I picked it up from the secondhand shop. Look, can you see it? £1. If that isn't the bargain of the century, I don't know what is. £1 to enjoy a film like that on multiple occasions. That is just a bargain. You can see, like, you got Jim Caviezel, as I say, on the left there, just here. He puts in a cracking performance in this, like really, really like puts his heart into this. Extremely believable. I'm surprised he's not used in more films because, yeah, very, very believable actor. And Dennis Quaid, of course, you know what you're getting with Dennis Quaid. You can't go wrong with that guy. Put him in a role and he's going to pull it off every time. And he plays an awesome part as the dad. So, yeah, I don't want to give any more spoilers away about this, but I do love. Oh God, man, what else do I love about this film? Some great action scenes. Actually, it opens up with a really cool action scene of they're firefighting in this tunnel um, under the road. Man, there's like a gas explosion. Really cool explosions. I love how it has its own rules about time travel in this film, um, and it's kind of like it is a bit like Back to the Future, similar kind of rules, but it's very instant in this. The ripple is instantaneous, so anything they change in the past happens immediately in the present. And there's a scene in it where as he's walking around the house, he accidentally kicks one of the doors, which cracks one of the windows, and you see that instantly. That happens in the our present straight away. And there's another scene where they lose the ability to talk through the CB radio. So genius, absolutely genius. His dad in the past uses a soldering iron because they're in the same house. It's all the same furniture. The walls are the same. Everything's the same around them. It's just in the past and in the future. And his dad in the past uses a soldering iron to burn some words into the table, the same table that Jim Caviezel was sitting in the present. So as he's burning the letters into this table to say that he's okay, Jim Caviezel can see it in the present. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Um, I love it. So there we go, guys. Frequency. Don't miss it. Get out there and watch it. If you're looking for family, sci-fi, wholesome enjoyment, and a great concept in the way that it uses time travel, Frequency is your film. You're not going to go wrong. Forget modern day Hollywood. You are going to get so much more out of this than you would from anything that's showing in the cinemas right now. So there you go, guys. Frequency, check it out. And be sure to come back and let me know what you think. Take care, guys. I shall see you soon.